One of my favorite stories, which I feel often pops up, even across what you share, um, is your journey through Bombay.
Yeah,
I feel everybody who's ever spent any time in Bombay has so many Bombay stories of just
for sure.
experiencing the city.
Yeah,
I was going through your Instagram. I was trying to find a few things which have resonated with me in the past. And this is one story you talk about walking in Bombay in the afternoons,
yeah, man.
about how that's the best time to walk through Bombay.
3:30 p.m. in Bombay. Yeah, it's great.
And why that resonated with me, it made me remember my early days in Bombay when I used to work at MTV, where around that time, 2, 3 in the afternoon, when everyone's on like a semi lunch break because everyone has lunch late, I would put on my headphones in Parel in Bombay and I would just go for a walk
Yeah,
with no sense of which direction I'm walking, and I would just walk and I would just and after that I'm not even listening to anything. I just had the headphones on. The headphones are generally like,
yeah,
you don't come and talk to me. And I remember those walks so vividly because those were times when I experienced, I almost feel like the city takes you
yeah,
in so many ways. And so I remember reading that. I'm like, there's so many people who come to this city with so many things they want to do. And I think people come into cities to do all of that
yeah.
stuff. How did that experience change for you over time? Like,
I found, man, such immense kindness in this city. It is, and somewhere in that hour of the day. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very emotional about it, but because it represents those connections to me. I remember I moved to Bombay on a whim. You know, I was I'd done a show for Times of India called the Times Food Awards, and I got put up at this Pali Hill guest house, right? And the awards went well. I was an MC, and Vineet Jain, who owns the Times of India, said, "Come to my office at VT Station tomorrow morning." And I went there, and I think I had a 12 o'clock meeting. And he said, "We think you have talent. We're going to sign you. We're going to make you a VJ." I'm like, "Great. What's a VJ?" Right? I have no idea. And he's like, "Doesn't matter. You'll have to move to Bombay in 2 weeks." So I remember it being 3:30 p.m., right? And I've come back from town. I've taken a Kali Pili back from town. I went to Marine Drive, smoked a cigarette, kind of looked out, had like my Shah Rukh Khan moment where I'm like, can I make it here? Took a Kali Pili back. And I called my friend Yamini and I'm like, "Do you know a broker?" And she's like, "Yeah, where do you want to live?" And I'm like, "I guess here, wherever I am is very nice." And then I think at 3:45 p.m., a guy called Imtiaz came on a bike and picked me up from the Times of India guest house and took me to Russell Pinto's house in Bandra. And he's this doctor who had a room that was as big as this carpet, right? And I was like, "Can I live here?" He's like, "Yeah, it's my annex. Do you do drugs?" And I was like, "No, sir." And he's like, "Cool, it's $5,000 a month, right? Or $5,500 a month." And it was literally, dude, it was like my mattress was here, the front door was here, and it was gas stove, television, fridge, air conditioner, bathroom door. Was this wall, all of which I could touch with my feet. So, and then to have the apartment not blow up, you have to turn the AC off while you turn the gas on. You have to do all of that stuff, etc. But that was 3:30 p.m. I remember this gentleman called Ashwin Mushran, who I'm sure you know. There's a show called The Great Indian Comedy Show, right, which Ranveer Shore and Vinay Pathak and everybody won. And as a young comic, you're like, "Man, if I could just make it on that show." And I had no agents or representation or anything like that. And the producer didn't like me very much, right? He was like, "This boy Shana is, English, privileged, etc., etc." So I was waiting for a 3-minute audition. And I think they made me sit outside the studio on a chair, on a plastic chair. And I remember Ashwin Mushran had come in and he was on the show. And I remember distinctly, like he had a iPod, right, when the iPods had just come out. And I remember like in slow motion, I can remember at like 3:45 p.m. Ashwin Mushran taking his iPhones off and like wrapping the iPhones around the iPod. And I was just thinking, man, that's a working actor. Like that's what it means to be successful in Mumbai. The guy has an iPod, man. And I did this for 3 days, kind of sitting outside the studio. And then at some point, Mushran came up to me and he's like, "Bro, you shouldn't be sitting outside a studio in the sunlight. They'll either give you an audition or they won't, but go home. Don't embarrass yourself like this." And I'm like, "But sir, I want to." And he's like, he pulled out his agent's card and he's like, "This is my agent. You give him a call and see if he'll represent you." Nobody does that, but that's Mumbai. That agent signed me in 5 days and I had my first project in 7 days. And I didn't need to do the Great Indian Comedy Show, right? But I've just had these things that have happened should I tell you one more story or is this boring?
No, I love this story. Please go on.
I created this DVD called Viragra and I put it in DVD libraries all across Mumbai, right? My first movie, nobody knows about this movie at all. Most people think it was like Love Ajkal, where I was a background extra and all of that stuff. My first movie was a movie called Mumbai Salsa. All right.
How do I know that movie name?
Because it had a really good song called "Let's Do the Mumbai Salsa,"
Oh, yes.
which Adnan Sami had sung. Right. But it was this 6 friends ensemble, and me and Manjari Fadnis were the young leads in this movie. And I remember I had gone to Vikram Bhatt's office at 2:30 p.m. and I'd taken an auto there and I was auditioning for like the 6th guy. They're going to find some hunk to be the lead guy opposite Manjari, and Manjari was cast already. And I'm like, "So I gave an audition and I'm like, "Sir, it's good to meet you. By the way, I do stand-up comedy. Here's my DVD." I remember heading back in an auto rickshaw at like 3:30 and getting a call from Vikram Bhatt on my cell phone, just being like, "Turn around and come back. You're a star. You're the lead of my movie." So I turned around and went back to his office. And of course, Mumbai Salsa, right? So, whatever happened, happened. But I've just had great 3:30 p.m.s in Mumbai where kindness has found its way to me.
Kindness is such an. You're often told that being kind is something that can be a negative thing for you because people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But as you were telling me both these stories, one of the things that kept coming into my head was the fact that the more kind we are with each other, the more we let it flow.
Yeah.
Like, we all feel nicer, we all behave better, we all just kind of radiate the right kind of energy to each other. And things happen. And things will do well, not do well, but we'll all feel good.
Yeah, like maybe sometimes I think of it like kindness exists and it's a lane of a highway that is going this way and it's always moving. Kindness is just on the move and it's your job to step into that traffic and kind of let it run you over and then step off when you need to. And the other lane is moving as well, but that one moves a lot faster. So maybe it's not that you are kind or you feel kind or that maybe kindness just exists in for like fleeting moments of time you let to get it pass through you. But it is very purifying, tremendously.
Do you also feel that when you see kindness, it makes you be kinder as well? You need to kind of pay it forward. Is that something which do you feel happens naturally?
I think it's what God is. Like that is my version of God is an aspiration to kindness. So it is everything to me. It really is. And I definitely go through moments where like we both know people who have worked with me, right? So I'm an obsessive madman to work with, and in my madness, I can be incredibly unkind if we are not in a creative zone that I think we need to be, or we're losing our madness and we need to rally together and bring it back together. But I would count those moments as my biggest failures. To me, the biggest failures in my life are moments when I've been unkind, as opposed to moments where I've failed or succeeded at something.
Did that make you rethink things? If it did, make sure you check out the full episode.